Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome to the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Arena Open Day 1 event. This is a competitive sealed event with a very high risk, high reward entry fee where we'll be spending 5,000 gems or 25,000 gold, but if we manage to make it to 7 wins before 3 losses, we'll qualify for the Day 2 Best of 3 draft events, where a great record can net you up to $2,000 in cash prizes. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch, though. First, we're going to have to make it through one of the most volatile formats on Arena, Best of 1 Sealed. So without further ado, let's cross our fingers and hope we open up the cards that can take us to Day 2. Well, we certainly opened up a high quantity of rares, I'll tell you that, but that is something that's pretty true to play boosters in general. You're going to see a lot of very high rare count sealed pools, and a lot of these don't really qualify as playable cards. So I don't think this is the craziest sealed pool I've ever seen in this format. Actually, far from it. This format has insane sealed pools sometimes, but we still have some really strong rares to build around here. I think the best one that I'm looking at here is probably Roxanne, Starfall Savant, giving us removal spells every time she enters the battlefield or attacks. Those removal spells are also mana rocks, or they can shoot our opponent in the face for the last couple points of damage. She also gets to overlap in colors with Hellspur Posse Boss, one of our other best rares, this being 3 creatures off of 1 spell, 2 of which have nice little activated abilities. We've also got a Kellen the Kid, pretty hard to cast here, but a 3/3 Flying Lifeling's a solid stat line up front, and if you use the plot mechanic, you can get some extra spells onto the board for free. Those, I think, are the most exciting rares, but Caustic Bronto is a fine, or Caustic Bronco, sorry, is a fine little card draw engine. Geralf, if you plot a bunch of stuff, work around this well, you can get a bunch of zombies, but these are a little bit more build-aroundy, a little harder to get going. I think everything else here just sucks, though, which is unfortunate when we open up, like, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? Yeah, like 14 rares. There's probably like 8 of them I just wouldn't really put into almost any deck. Like this World Waker Helm, there's just not going to be a bunch of token production. Grand Abolishers, just kind of hard to cast, doesn't do enough in 1v1 draft and sealed. High Noon is just a really hard to cast 5 mana burn spell for the most part. Void Slime, just a super hard to cast counter spell. Imp's Mischief is very narrow. A lot of very, very situational rares, but overall this is still a pretty great sealed pool because we have a few rares that are actually pretty sweet. Roxanne and Posse Boss, definitely my favorites though, so hopefully we can do something in red-green. Alright, let's check out the individual colors here. Well, colorless and multicolor is what I'd like to look at first to see how much fixing we have, as well as any kind of cards that would fit into any deck. Not a ton of fixing here. We have the pretty mediocre Conduit Pylons kind of fixing. This does give us whatever color we need, but we have to play off-curve to do it. Then the Oasis Gardener and Gold Pan are fine as well, so no like really good colorless fixing, but solid options if we need them. And as for the multicolored cards, we're really just looking for premium uncommons here when we look at our multicolored stuff, because these can sometimes be strong enough that they pull us into a certain direction, much like a specific rare would. So like Ruthless Lawbringer's a solid removal spell. Crom's a good build around in draft. This would be pretty hard to do in sealed, though. I've actually never even read this card, but it doesn't look very good. Whenever you cast a multicolored instant or sorcery from your hand, yeah, that's not happening. That is not playable. Cactus Folk Sure Shots is great out of red-green, and we're already interested in going that color for Roxanne. Don't have the on-color deserts for that, but we do for like splashing in white. We have 3 white lands. If we play these as mountains and this is a forest towards red-green, so double Miriam actually is kind of interesting. If we have a ton of mounts, Miriam could be incredible, because mounts are literally just like creatures like anything else. You can just have a 2 mana 3/1 that happens to be a mount, and all of a sudden it's just rolling in with a bunch of +1/+1 counters. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe, well, we don't really have the lands in red-green in particular, like to help fix our red and green together. If we're playing red, green, and white, we can splash kind of either way thanks to these overlapping. So maybe like green, white, splash the red at the top for the Roxanne. Something like that could work out if we really want to. And I guess we get to play the somewhat mediocre removal of Annie joins up. Just a pretty difficult mana cost, but if we already go red, green, white, then might as well throw this in, because sometimes it'll double up our Miriam triggers or Roxanne triggers, so worth a shot, I think, if we do go for that color trio going Naya here. So some things I'm definitely interested in, but I do like to make sure that I take a look at every color individually so we're not missing on anything here, just in case there is something hiding away that's really good, like a really synergistic blue-black control deck or something that just doesn't involve any rares. Probably not. We're probably trying to go red, green, white, something with those colors, but we'll see. We like to take a peek at it all. So for white here, I mean, this color looks pretty fine. I'm just pulling all the filler stuff to the side, so we can just look at the pretty good creatures. Pretty good removal spells. Honestly, Pixie's like sort of filler, but not so bad I want to put it like in the Instacut pile or anything. Shepherd is very good, and we have 2 removal spells here. Mystical Tether, which is great, and Fierce Retribution, which is okay. We've got Double Trained Erranks to go with our Miriam if we try to do that kind of deck with a lot of mounts in it. Plus, since they're mounts, they make the Shepherd of the Clouds a little bit better. This card's great by itself, but if you do happen to have a mount on the board, you make the card just absurd, immediately reanimating something instead of just putting it back in your hand. So I do like that. Sheriff is a little bit iffy without a really high creature count, but will probably be there if we're going green, white, or red, white, or anything like that. So probably makes the cut. And then flyers are always great, so I like the Holy Cow, the Sterling Supplier, the Shepherd. Like beefier flyers, the Nurturing Pixie, 1 mana 1/1s even with pretty good abilities are not great. Yeah, like if it's just like evasive, it's just not that exciting, but we could still try it out. I don't think it's horrible. It's probably not as bad as like the Wingsmiths and stuff, or the Abolisher or anything. But yeah, I mean, white seems really reasonable. We have a little bit of removal. We've got some good creatures at the early and top end. I do like the color. As for blue, this is unplayable. And for the most part, it's kind of slow and dirty. Like, we have the Shackle Slinger that wants us to cast 2 spells per turn a lot. And the only way we can really do that is by plotting a bunch, where we can really fall behind on board if we're just spending all our mana to cast something that isn't going to hit the board till the turn after, like a Loan Shark here. And we only have 2 plot cards on color, 1 Loan Shark and 1 Outlaw Stitcher, which can make these even harder to do, but we do have those synergies, right? The Geralf, the Outlaw Stitcher, the Loan Shark, and the Shackle Slinger all want us to like dump our hand out in 1 turn later, or at least dump multiple spells in 1 turn later. So there's a bit of synergy here, but it's kind of slow and it could definitely fall behind pretty easily. So I'm not super excited about the color. And I don't think there's quite enough synergy, because these like cast a second spell kind of synergies and stuff haven't played super well, unless you've got a really nice draft deck, a really streamlined deck towards it, and I don't think this is quite at that level. There's just a tiny bit of stuff we can do to try to get there. Black looks pretty empty in terms of the quantity of cards. The quality's also not there, because these are some synergy pieces without the synergy. Like the Rakish Crew, we want basically all of our creatures to be mercenaries for this to be any good. Or not mercenaries, but outlaws for this to be any good, and we only have a couple outlaws. There's a couple assassins, and that's it. A bird, a vampire, a bronco. These are not outlaws. But maybe a secondary color helps get there. And even then, like the buzzard and the assassins are somewhat filler creatures, but they can make the cut. Yeah, we've got like 1 really good removal spell, a couple very solid 2-drop creatures. Bronco I'll add to that pile. 1 great piece of recursion, but then it's like decent filler right here, and then bad filler right here. Just not a lot in black. Red is very low quantity as well. Although, I mean, triple Wolverine, double Pyromancers, double Derailment. It's a little bit more than it looks like. Because it looks like there's almost no red cards, but when you consider the ×2s and the ×3s, there's some stuff here, but it's not, like, very good. I don't love the Magebane Lizard, the Pyromancers. But, Maybe it is like green, white, splash red works out fine. It's going to be hard to splash in double red for like the posse boss here, but if we do manage to go that way, I did like the white better than the red. We would get to throw in some explosive derailments to up our removal count at the very least. Then maybe we get a little bold and also try to play the posse boss. That could be fine. We could play the treasure token producer and the mana dork out of colorless as well. Yeah. I mean, I would say these 4 are bad filler because we don't have enough Outlaws for Outlaws Fury. The Pyromancers are just really slow. They're not giving you mana until you're already casting 4 and 5 mana spells anyway. The Mage Bane Lizard's pretty narrow. The Wolverines are actually a pretty solid card if red was a core color, but that would mean red would be a core color at like 5 cards in the deck, which isn't really where you want to be. Green. Uh-oh. Well, that's a problem. I thought we couldn't have less cards, but we could. Green has even less. I mean, none of these are unplayable. I could just run every single one of these cards to go green-white, but there's no mounts here to go with the Miriams anyway. Although Miriam is still a 2-mana 3/2 no matter what. Yeah. I mean, we could go like full 3-color here where we're not like really splashing red. We're not really splashing green. We're just playing equal amounts of both of them. Just deal with a little bit of a muddy mana base so that we can play our best cards. That is something you have to do a good amount of the time in sealed. In draft, you really do want to streamline your deck and have it be 2 colors and just splash in that 3rd powerful bomb like Roxanne. But in sealed, sometimes you just have a low enough count of green spells and a low enough count of red spells that I just need to run all of each of them, like I think we'll have to do here. So I kind of think white is going to be our most prevalent color, but I do still think these are the best colors, is red, green, and white here. So let's focus up on that. So the Wolverine maybe can stay in the posse boss for sure. If we're not just splashing red, if we're splashing red and green, we keep that posse boss in here. Let's get the colorless cards in as well so that we can play Oasis Gardener and Gold Pan. Not that they are fantastic fixing, but when we're running a double red card and 3 colors of stuff, double green card. I guess there's no double white, but still pretty difficult because I'm just not going to play Grand Abolisher. Still difficult mana costs. Okay, so we're at 50 out of 40 cards here. What do we want to cut? So Wingsmith is one of the most filler cards in the deck right now. Requisition Raid. Be a bit of a lower creature count. Don't need a ton of removal. I mean, I guess in sealed you kind of do. We can play Tether, Double Derailment, Fierce Retribution, Annie joins up, and Betrayal at the Vault. And we can. I don't know if we need all of that, but it wouldn't be horrific to run all of it. I expect this to be a lot of 3-4 color decks just sitting and waiting to play bomb rares a lot, because there's a lot of bomb rares in this set. So having a lot of removal could go a long way for us. What is our creature count at? It's at 21 right now, but I still need to cut 7 more cards. Might cut the Sheriff if I end up cutting mostly creatures. I like all these 3-drops. I like the double Eric's double Miriam. Use the Bristle Pack as a potential 2-drop to cut. Nurturing Pixie, Ankle Biter. These probably aren't the most impactful cards for a long game of sealed. So 7 cuts. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures set aside right now. So I could just cut 7 of these, but also got like the big weird combat trick. It can be pretty impactful, but it's a lot of mana to hold up at instant speed. We've got... I really think that is probably the worst non-creature that we have right now. So if I cut a lot of these creatures, we probably want to cut the sheriffs here, since we won't have a really wide board for that often. Ends up playing like just a really narrow 3-mana 3/3 a lot of the time. Yeah, we'll cut the reach, the double sheriff. I think I'm just going to cut the 1 mana creatures here as well and just focus on playing tap lands and stuff. Turn 1. 2 more cards to cut. I don't have a lot of creatures with power 4 or greater, but I could, like, Snakeskin Veil up a Sentry or Gold Pan up a Sentry, or do that on any of my 3 power creatures. That includes double Miriam, double Erranx. If the Erranxes get a counter on them with Miriam, that'll work. Yeah, I actually think Sentry's probably pretty decent, so I'll just cut down to 1 Wolverine here. This looks reasonable to me. Not in love with it for sure. It could be a lot better, but could also be a lot worse. Yeah, I think this is pretty fine. Kind of dirtily, kind of hoping to hit the right colors and everything, but so is a lot of sealed pools, a lot of sealed decks. How are our colors looking, by the way? We've got 10 white, 10 green, 7 red. Close to even on every color, but we want a little bit less red mana than anything else. And right now we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ways to get white. 7, 8. And for green we have 5, 6, 7, 8. And for red we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Interesting. Probably cut 1 mountain. The only issue I have with that is that Posse Boss being difficult. But 10, 10, 7. I guess we'd also have to choose between green or white, which one is going to get slightly overrepresented. And both green and white look pretty equally important. I guess we could just roll with it like this. 8, 8, 8. I feel like the white mana is like a tiny bit more important early, though. Turn 3, I'll be real sad if I miss my green source for these like patient naturalists and stuff, but early, like, the Erranxes into the Holy Cows are our best early plays. I mean, really, Miriam is our best early play, but we need to hit both colors for that anyway. We could cut, like, double mountain and play another forest and another plains, and then we're still on 4 natural red sources, 2 pylons. That's still 6 red sources in the mana base, plus a gold pan and a gardener. It's not great to go that low, but red is the only color that we're really not doing anything red until like turn 4, right? Like our earliest red play is like Explosive Derailment, which is removal, so we can play that. We can play that later. It's not the kind of card we're always just casting the second that we can. Wolverine, I guess we would like to just plot that on turn 3 a lot of the time, but we don't really want to actually cast that until we have 5 mana untapped. That way we don't just like play this and then exile a 5-drop or a 6-drop, which we do have in the deck. I mean, we could even change the deck a little bit here, like cut the Wolverine for just another green or a white card so that it really doesn't matter if we're stuck off of red mana, because then every red card we play is late game play. It's a 4-drop or later. And the only issue we have with red mana then is hitting double red for Posse Boss. I feel like that's pretty reasonable. Let's cut the Wolverine. I could put an 18th land in, but I would rather put in another green or white card, I think. I guess I could play High Noon, but like, we've got enough removal. I mean, this can shoot the face, which is cute, but it's not going to come up too often. And I'm really not in love with any of these white cards. But green is just Ankle Biter or Reach for this guy. Like, we could put like an Ankle Biter in, but maybe we go for something like Sterling Hound to set up the draws. Or Red Rock Sentinel can be a card draw engine if we flood out. It's also pseudo-fixing for the Posse Boss late game. If it's just clumped in our hand and we can't do it, then sack an extra forest or plains to get the treasure to cast it. I don't know. It's pretty slow, but I'll try out the Red Rock Sentinel here for a little bit of a grindier game plan. I think that's fine. It is like the last playable, so it's okay if it's a bit more mediocre than most of the deck. So now we're on 10-10-6. We're on 9 green sources. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 whites. Boom. We do that. And now red's a little difficult, but getting the first red mana shouldn't be that hard, and that's the really important one. That's for double derailment. Annie joins up, Sure Shot, and Roxanne. There's only one double red card in the deck. Sometimes we'll have issues with it, but when we don't, it will be great. So yeah, let's go ahead and call it a deck here. Alright, here's a look at our final deck list for today. As usual with Sealed, it's going to be kind of a sloppy mana-based 3-color hybrid mush pile, just trying to put all of our most powerful spells into one deck. Our most powerful spell in the Sealed pool being Roxanne, Starfall Savant, multiple removal spells and mana rocks on a stick. Fantastic card, but we've got a lot of other bangers in here at the top end. We've got Shepherd of the Clouds, being a large enough threat to just end a game while also giving us Graveyard Recursion at the same time. The Cactus Folk Sure Shot can just hit for a bunch of damage. The Hellspur Posse Boss is a bunch of creatures there, so some really high power, high mana value spells, as well as some great early cards if we manage to hit the right colors of mana. We could curve out pretty aggressively if we manage to get Miriam alongside some Trained Errances. That will be spectacular. So since we do have a pretty awkward mana base playing almost even amounts of these colors, we are playing some dirtily fixing. So like obviously all of the dual lands are good, but the Conduit Pylons is slower mana fixing. The Gold Pan and the Oasis Gardener is also really slow mana fixing, but I think you can take a little bit extra time to set things up in Sealed. You're not going to be under as much pressure. Most players are not going to be coming in with as streamlined decks because the Sealed pools just aren't always going to align perfectly like that. So you have more time to dirtle around and cast spells that are only there really to help your mana. So hopefully it all works out well for us, but it looks like it's a deck that has the powerful cards to end some games. It's got good amounts of removal to try to stop our opponent's powerful spells from just completely annihilating us. It's got a little bit of everything you need, and hopefully it's got what we need to take down the Arena Open Day 1. Without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. We have Holy Cow on turn 3 as our first play. Do that off a Gold Pan at worst. Treasure. I do have to do it turn 4 if I don't want to spend the treasure, so that's a little awkward, but I think we keep this. Really trying to get some mileage out of the Surveil to find some more early threats to cast. That's an awkward one, because it's not an early threat, but it'll let us play Holy Cow turn 3 without spending the treasure. I still think I gotta mill that. Can't really afford to flood out this early. We might just cast a turn 4 Holy Cow if our opponent doesn't put us under any pressure. And yeah, now we've got Explosive Derailment, and that is a pretty helpful draw, because if they do manage to play a really scary 2-drop, then we can just blow it up now. And we don't have to spend the treasure to do that. So we have that left behind to fix mana, or cast Betrayal at the vault early. Patient Naturalist, another great draw. So that I don't have to just spend the turn killing the Defender 3/3. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy to Naturalist here. Alright, find some dual lands. We're just going to cast a Holy Cow next turn. Although we do need an untapped land to do that. I think I still just take a Desert. And I guess I want Inspiring Vantage more, because we actually have double red cards. But I can use Conduit Pylons or the treasure token for that later. Maybe it is just untapped Source. But if I need untapped mana, I just play Forest next turn. Yeah, I'll take the Desert. I could immediately equip if I'm worried about them playing a 4-power creature. One of the 3-mana 4/2s in the format or something. But that would cost me my treasure token, which is a legitimate cost here. Nope, they're just going to plot something. Outcaster Trailblazer. Well, that's a good one. Alright, we drew a Miriam to cast right now, so I can play the tap land and play Miriam instead of going untapped land Holy Cow if I want. Could also go Miriam, equip, and send in. They're about to play a 4/2 that lets them draw a card whenever another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, so I kind of want to hold up Explosive Derailment, actually, which means I just play the tap land and pass. It's going to be a little suspicious for sure that I didn't equip the Naturalist, but I think it's worth stopping them from drawing the extra card here, potentially. Although now they are open to just casting this, attacking, and then not casting anything else. Because I don't want to try to blow up the Trailblazer until they tap out to try to cast another creature, because they're a blue deck, so if they have a bunch of open mana... Ooh, make your own luck. Well, that's a great play here. Alright, so now they're tapped out. Now I will go ahead and kill the Trailblazer before they can attack with the Sentry. But that is a bummer. That's huge card draw. Which is excellent in a slower game. And this is looking to be a slower game for sure. Oh god, they got to get a free 7/7 now? Well, not good at all. I can poke them for 3, that's something. I can scry off of the Holy Cow to try to find something to deal with a 7/7 with a bunch of ward. But we do have a lot of removal in the deck. And we've got the mana to pay for ward, so if we find a mystical tether or something, we could get through this thing. Nimble Brigand draws them a card every time it hits us, and it gets unblockable every time that they commit a crime by targeting us or any of our cards. And there's more card draw with Beastbond Outcaster. Their sealed pool is way more streamlined than ours. Those are some deep colors there with green and blue. That is not what we're looking for. So I can't do anything because reach. Holding up Betrayal over casting Miriam here. Because next turn, thanks to the treasure token, I can cast Miriam and still hold it up. And Miriam doesn't really impact the game at all right now, regardless. Spinewood's Paladin Beef 2. See, if our green was like this, where we had Paladin, Armadillo, Beastbond Outcaster kind of stuff, we would have had just an excellent deck. And the Trailblazer. But I guess that wouldn't count. I'm trying to find like the good green commons and uncommons to support our rares. Because we already had good green rares. Well, I guess just one, just the Roxanne. But still. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say here other than this is very bad. Now that I drew the Erynx, I would have to take this turn off of casting Betrayal to get it down. I kind of want to wait to Betrayal till I have a 4-power creature anyway. And I don't have the mana to make Miriam 4-power and Betrayal the same turn, even if I immediately moved the gold pan. So... rather do that next turn. I'm not going to preemptively move the gold pan. Next turn it's going to be move gold pan, kill the Paladin and the Outcaster, I guess. Maybe the Brigand. But we still got to deal with this gigantic Armadillo somehow. I guess in theory I don't even need to move the gold pan. If I just attack with Erynx and they haven't killed Miriam by then, that'll be 4 power to use Betrayal with, since it is an instant. Deal 4 damage to Paladin, 4 damage to Outcaster. Alright, stop cold my 3/4, so they can send in with some smaller stuff. Yep. Fair. Yeah, that is, that's damage right there. I mean, I just don't think this is winnable from here, so we just stop all the damage we can. Alright. Three power. Chump. I don't have enough power left to kill Paladin though, so I can't like chump, shoot Paladin, live. Yeah, we're just dead. Alright, well, when that's sealed, baby. They just had a lot better, more streamlined stuff. And we dirtled around, so we start off 0-1 heading into game 2. Alright, here we are for game 2. Very slow hand here. Starts on turn 4 if we keep hitting land drops. Feels like we have to mulligan here. Okay, this looks much better mana-wise. It also has Patient Naturalist to help get to the 5 mana for Supplier. I think this one is a keep. I think I'm gonna go something like this. Make sure I have some interaction with that Fierce Retribution. I don't love ditching the Holy Cow, but I think this is where we want to be. Hello, Roxanne. Very nice to see you. Probably casting that first at this point. Alright, here's the Naturalist. I don't have a 4 mana play, so I just play a tap land turn 4 and we're cool with it. Looks good to me. Because that'll give me the second red if I draw into the Posse Boss. I guess the argument against it would be that Roxanne will also just give me the second red anyway, if we make it to her. And this way, just in case I top deck a 4-drop, I can still cast that and then cast a 5-drop on turn 5. But since I chose to keep the tap land, I'm going to have to play a tap land turn 4 or 5. There is a possibility I hit a good 4 mana play and this doesn't work out well. That is not a good 4 mana play, and we will be fine. Well, we milled the good 4 mana play. Goodbye, Posse Boss. Or not Posse Boss, the other one. Sure Shot. Alright. If they take out the shield, I still only lose 1 Naturalist to it, and that's the best combat trick they could have generally at common for those 2 mana. So I go for the double block there. And they didn't have it. They could have the counter spell here at common. That would be pretty annoying. Is that annoying enough to cast Supplier instead of Roxanne? Probably. Supplier's still pretty good on this board, and we're not under enough pressure to need to immediately, like, Meteor the Grizzly away. Alright, they don't have the counter spell anyway. It didn't seem likely out of a deck that is probably, like, 4-color here splashing around. But felt fine to play Supplier instead just in case, because it's still pretty good on this board. We take some Grizzly damage, but then we have some big counterattacks. Roxanne makes a tapped Meteorite, right? Yes. So we don't get to cast anything alongside Roxanne in the same turn. Alright, saddle up the Grizzly with the sheep and send in. Alright, I mean there's a lot more they could have now when it comes to combat tricks, but I don't think Naturalist is all that valuable, so we can lose it to a combat trick here, worst case scenario. And a trade is perfectly fine. Roxanne still has some sheep to kill. We don't need to get the grizzly with her. I mean, every naturalist we get to trade off is putting us up a card because they drew lands. Okay, this is really suspicious. Hold up 1,000,000 mana here. We are really hoping they do some kind of instant speed removal in the supplier, because otherwise there's so much more they could have to deal with Roxanne than last turn. Yeah, that's not great for me. I mean, our hand is so bad at doing anything else. It's all removal that I don't want to use on a 1/1 sheep. But this might just be a who blinks first kind of game. Sure, I don't have anything else to cast at like sorcery speed. If I don't cast Roxanne, but I can still kill any threat they play, and if they don't play a threat, I just take 1 damage. We can play pretty patiently with this Roxanne to make sure she sticks around. Unfortunately, the removal they ended up using was removal that could only kill a flyer anyway, so they didn't burn their Roxanne removal on our supplier, which is what I really wanted to happen. But, hey. Alright, we can kill that thing. And they'll be tapped out. I think we save the Fierce Retribution and use the Mystical Tether, because the Mystical Tether, they could potentially blow it up with enchantment removal. So if we deal with a non-token with Mystical Tether, they can save it, but since we're just killing a token here, they can't save that. It is working out so insanely well that we waited to Roxanne, because now we have Roxanne with Snakeskin Veil up. Like, actual perfect draw. So we have the hexproof spell when they try to kill her, and that will hopefully lock in the game for us. Because she is nasty. Every time she attacks, we get a meteorite again. Alright, there's a sheep. We'll have to derail that for Roxanne to get in without risk of dying, but that's fine. Because I don't want to have to use Snakeskin Veil as a combat trick to beat a bighorn. I want to have this up against their removal. So we'd rather just derail. Alright. Ooh, Shepherd of the Clouds. Well, that card is wild. I don't even know what's in our graveyard right now, but we're definitely casting this. It's probably just the 2/3s. Yeah, mainly. Red Rock Sentinel's actually better at this point, though. We can start eating our lands because we have so many meteorites for mana. Destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power, so if there's no longer a target creature, then that doesn't resolve. So we Snakeskin Veil. There's a Rope Master to bounce Roxanne, and then they die in the sky to the Shepherd. Alright. We are now 1-1, heading into Game 3. Alright, well, here we are on the play for Game 3. There's a chance for the Dream Curve here. Miriam into Naturalist into Hellspur Posse Boss. I guess not like the Dream Curve, because it's not like we have any mounts to go with the Miriam, but this deck only has like 2 mounts anyway, so... It's the Dream Curve for this this pile of Magic cards. Ooh, Braided Bluffs. I guess we skip turn 3 Naturalist then, right? Feels better to just play a 3/2 into Desert into Posse Boss then. And now we could have the Dream Curve. We could top deck the Trained Errands to have a mount to go with Miriam. Although you would ideally do it the other way around. You play the mount first so that the second you cast Miriam, she gets the buff. 1 red mana up? Sure, combat trick my Miriam. Oh, alright. I could still just Naturalist into Sure Shot, and that would still be a spectacular curve, but I want to get the Posse on board. Get the Outlaws to have haste, and we play some Plant Mercenaries. It's crime time. Trying to steal this game from our opponent. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Whee! Alright, Miriam for Courser is a fine trade. Again, we only have 2 mounts in the decks. She's mostly a 2-mana 3/2. And certainly this game right now, that's all she is. Archmage's Newt. She turned me into a newt. Do they even have anything in grave? No, not yet. But if they play cheap removal, that could be pretty scary. Snakeskin Veil is a gross draw. Now our hasty sure shot can get Snakeskin Veiled. Just send in 2 4/4s, right? Feel like that's the play. Woo! Yeah, this way they can't threaten to kill anything in combat without a spell of their own, combat trick or a burn spell. Alright, there's the chump. On the non-trampler, go down to 10. And they just pass the turn. Well, we hold up that Snakeskin Veil and do our thing. Naturalist is a scout, not an outlaw, so no reason to pre-combat that, even if we do end up playing it. I think I'd rather play Holy Cow, though, just to focus on playing the best attackers here. I guess the Mercenaries with Sure Shot is pretty fancy, right? I could play a 2-power creature, double buff it for the haste trample. Alright, there's the concession from our opponent. That was probably a little better, right? Because the only thing we realistically need to hold our mana up for is the Snakeskin Veil, and that's only 1 mana anyway, so probably would be better on that board state to actually just play like a hasty Holy Cow. Yeah, give it trample and haste, so attack for 4 there, 4 in the sky, and 2 on the ground instead of 4. Yeah, I should definitely keep that in mind for the future for games where it matters. Buffing up the small creatures when you have a sure shot on board can give them haste. So I could see like some corner case where like, obviously this case is very rare where we drew the Posse Boss and the sure shot, but maybe some other game we have like a 3-power creature and our gold pan, like our +1/+1 equipment, really try to keep in mind we can buff smaller creatures, playing them pre-combat to give them haste as well. So nice little thing to notice there in the end. Which does mean I didn't play this game out perfectly, but on the plus side of misplaying, it means you can learn for the future and try to keep that in mind in a game where it might matter. We are 2-1 heading into game 4. So we got Bristlepack Sentry. If we draw any lands, we get to play Naturalist next, look for mana. We've got a bit of interaction here. But we do need 4 mana for it if we don't hit a red source specifically. But Naturalist does dig. I think we keep this on the draw. So it'd be really risky on the play. It's definitely still a bit risky on the draw. Right, because if we don't hit a single land, not casting Naturalist is going to be a really bad time, but that's kind of all it needs to get going. If we hit 1 land, Naturalist makes sure that we hit another. It's digging 3 cards deep for another land, and even in the worst case scenario, the really unlikely scenario where there's no lands in the top 3, we still get at least a treasure to try to stabilize with 1 removal spell of a derailment or something to be castable off that. Alright, Omenport Vigilante is the start from our opponent. There we go. Natural Plains. So I get to go Erranks into Naturalist now instead of Sentry into Naturalist, so I actually get to attack on turn 3 if I want. Don't think we block here. They don't cast anything. Ooh, untapped land turn 3. Untapped dual land turn 3. If Naturalist finds a mountain, we get to Posse Boss turn 4. Seems legit. Seems very legit. We did not find a mountain, sadly. So no Posse Boss next turn, but we can do it turn 5. You know what? I don't think the Scry is worth not holding a 2-3 up against a 2-2. 2-3 is kind of the perfect blocker against this Vigilante. Alright, yeah, this is fine. I'll trade an Erix into a Holy Cow any day. Just get the flyer out of here. Cool. But yeah, Naturalist is actually just exactly what Vigilante wants to never run up against. Because the 2-2 double striker still trades into a 2-3. I could just derail the Beaver before they put any counters on anything, which does feel valuable. Yeah, I'm going to play the tap land here. I don't need to hold up a Snakeskin Veil to protect my 2-3. And speaking of Snakeskin Veil, that is one of the reasons I'm going to kill Giant Beaver while they're tapped out. The other one is the +1/+1 lifelink trick out of white. Oh, hello, Beaver 2. A goodbye, Beaver 2. Right, that's better than just playing a Posse Boss here. I think it is. I can play Sentry in the same turn, which is pretty cool. That land wouldn't be a terrible draw, because we could Posse Boss and hold up Snakeskin Veil if we had a 6th mana. But I can still, like, Sure Shot, hold up the Snakeskin Veil if I'm that concerned. And here's the 6th mana anyway, so I can still do it. Yeah. Posse Boss, hold up Snakeskin Veil it is. So we need to go red. 1. Red. 1. Holding up green for Veil. We use the Outlaws to make Naturalist 4 power. So Sentry can attack as well. They can double block Sentry or double block Naturalist. If they double block Sentry, I kill one of their creatures. If they double block Naturalist, I kill both. Right, cool. I could also leverage the Snakeskin Veil to just kill both their creatures if I want to just blow it on the Sentry here, but I think with a Sure Shot coming up, I'd rather save the Snakeskin Veil. There's a Mystical Tether. I don't care that much about them killing the Posse Boss here, but it still feels better to Snakeskin Veil. So that Sure Shot just hastes right in, because it doesn't give itself haste. Voracious Varmints. Okay, there's a Naturalist. If Naturalist hits an untapped mana, I could play Naturalist and Sure Shot here. I've drawn a lot of my non-basics, so this feels likely. Worst case scenario, Treasure Token works too. Cool. So then I get to play both, and then I get to double outlaw up the Summoning Sick Naturalist to give it haste and trample. And, I mean, yeah, it's just party time, basically. Remember when I said it was really unlikely we would hit Posse Boss and Sure Shot again? And then we did. Might have been slightly better to kill the Varmint than the Double Striker. But I don't know, I fear Double Strike. We do have like one enchantment-based removal spell, so that would be the argument there. Anyways, looks like it is good enough. A couple really, really good draws in a row. Or a couple games with really good draws in a row. And that brings us up to 3-1 now. It's at least a 50-50 record no matter what. But as I said going into this, high risk, high reward events. Even at 50-50, we don't get anything back. We still need 4 more wins to get our entry fee back. 2 more wins to get a tiny bit of pity money back out. So see if we can't keep this win streak up as we head into Game 5. Here we are on the play for Game 5. No green source for Miriam's pretty bad. We're also really trying to hit 5 mana. Feels close to having to mulligan, but 1 green source makes the hand pretty dang solid, because that would mean Derailment is active, Miriam's active, we have a Veil to protect Miriam. Our late game is excellent here, putting a Miriam back in hand and stuff. I feel like the card quality is worth a gamble on this one, but I could also just see my face exploding in a few turns if we do not draw any lands. Oh my god, if we draw lands, this hand is even better off of Arinx, but Arinx being the first draw and not being a land as the first draw is also very stressful. Well, if the third draw is Forest, it's gonna be pretty wild. I should have scryed. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I forgot about the scry. Opponent took a gamble too! They're on a 2-lander? Go right to the end step? We both gambled, but I also misplayed bad. A scry would have been huge here, but I would have kept it on top. Arena loves me today. And get ready for a filthy turn. Oh my god, yeah. That's fair. I probably would have scooped as well. We both kept risky 2-landers. I missed the land, they missed the land. But then I hit it and it gets to play a Miriam with 2 trained Arinx on board to hit them for 8 damage this turn. That is so gross. And it's gotta be especially annoying for our opponent that I also misplayed last turn. If they've played a lot of the format, they know we could have saddled the Arinx and scryed into the land. That's pretty embarrassing, pretty sloppy for me, but I just completely forgot, just blanked on the fact that we get a scry one. It's not just for the first strike, so it would have been worth the scry one to play our other Arinx pre-combat. I was just in speed mode for some reason, which it really shouldn't be for an Arena Open. I mean, Arena Open day 1, whatever, like, you get to throw more gold at it, but day 2, if we make it, we gotta tighten this up. We are 4-1 heading into game number 6. Here we are for game 6. Our opponent's on the play. We've got a great start. We've got Arinx on turn 2 to try to get aggressive. We've got mana fixing, both in our mana base and our creatures. This is a definite keep. It's kind of a slow, dirtily hand, but as I said before, we're going to have a lot of those with this deck and in sealed in general. Mirror match here. They're also on red, white, and green. And they're going to start with their own Arinx. It really is the mirror match. Would I like to Retribution that over anything else? Probably not. I've got a Roxanne coming up that'll just kill it on the Enter the Battlefield effect. Let's just start. Oh my god, I played the wrong land. How did that happen? Woo! This is my sloppiest Arena Open day 1. Oh god. Sloppiest Arena Open day 1 in a while. I should have played some warm-up games today, but I just logged on. I'm like, all right, here we go. Haven't played Outlaws of Thunder Junction in about a week. Haven't played Magic in about a week. Let's record the Arena Open. Bad idea. Bad idea. I record my videos in chunks, so for you all, it looks like just yesterday I quick drafted, but that's not true. I haven't played Magic in a week, and I don't know what is going on. My brain is bad right now. Alright, obviously it would have been infinitely better to have played a Plains so we could play the Arinx there. We could have just traded into theirs to buy some time to dirtle around. Ooh, god no. And their curve out is wild here. Yeah, this looks like a game where it's going to matter a lot that I have not played tight. Because they have a great curve. Arinx into Greenblade into Sharpshooter is nasty. I think I need to just play one Arinx and hold off Retribution here. Hold up Retribution here. There's the Sharpshooter. And they can just saddle up now. Saddle up with the Sharpshooter. Yep. It's quite bad. They get to scry and keep setting up their draws, but if we can find the mana for Roxanne, we might still be okay. Retribution, the Greenblade. Slightly harder to kill than the Arinx, and it might hit us for more damage. Because we can't kill the Greenblade with Roxanne. Okay, that is not Roxanne mana, but that's Annie Joins Up mana, which is still a big deal. Because we can kill one of their creatures, and now if we do get to play Roxanne, we get to kill 2 creatures off of that. I think we kill the creature that doesn't die to Roxanne, and pray that we hit any untapped land, and then we play Roxanne and kill the other 2 creatures. 6-5. Hello there. That is not good in the slightest. So not the Roxanne mana. Oh god. Well, on the plus side, it's starting to look like we were gonna die, even if I played perfectly. But that was one very bad turn. Oops, what am I doing? That's literally the wrong creature. That would have been such a funny ending. I then just double block the wrong creature somehow. The brain completely farts. Yeah, that's salt in the wound there. Alright, so I mean, we would have been at 6 life instead of 3 if I played Eric's instead. That's not true. We would have been in a quite a bit of a better position, right? Because we would have spent the mana turn 2 for the Eric's, traded that off early. Wait, no, we wouldn't, because they just kept giving theirs first strike. We would have had more life, and I would have had the mana by playing that Eric's sooner to play our other blockers slightly sooner. So we would have been in a better position. I don't think good enough to get through the Rattleworm in the end, though. Right, if we just hit that land here, I think we still end up dying before we can cast Roxanne, but I don't know. I don't know. It was very, very sloppy. I mean, we had one sloppy turn, but that turn was so sloppy in playing the wrong land that it did make us stumble for the rest of the game. But we were still going to be on the back foot, stumbling, taking a bunch of damage regardless. We would have been probably dead to Rattleworm before we could cast Roxanne. There's always a chance. I guess the only chance that our misplay really, really mattered would be if we had cast enough other creatures early by actually playing our creature turn 2, that they ended up using their removal on one of those creatures instead of our mana dork. That is like the only way I think we would have won, is if we could have gotten them to use removal on something other than our mana dork. Alright, we're going to keep this and we're going to play the correct lands now. In fact, I'm so concerned about playing the wrong lands, I'm just never going to play Conduit Pylons until I already have all my colors first. Which is kind of awkward because you probably should get that Surveil nice and early, but now I have red and white. I have all the colors I can have access to. Now I will Surveil. Okay, there's green and white. And I do need that, so keep. Okay. I could cast Sentry here, but if I play the tap land, I get to play Cactus Folk Sure Shot next turn. And with the Ward 2, it's going to cost like all of their mana to kill it, even with a really efficient removal spell. So let's see how efficient their removal is. If it's the counter spell, that sucks, but their blue mana's off of a random duel, so I wouldn't expect that. Okay. Red, black, green, blue running a 2-drop counter spell. That was going to be very, very hard to guess. So, I mean, I stand by the play. When we see these 3 lands as their lands, I think it's fair to assume they probably don't have a cheap blue counter, but that's because we saw a weird distribution of their lands. They probably have a lot more islands in there, as you can see by the fact that they played an island immediately afterward. I'm surprised they plotted the draw 3 instead of just casting it, because they had double blue. Oh, they must have a double spell thing here. That's why they're going to do that in like the Loan Shark or something. Draw 4. Servant of the Stinger. Alright. So they probably have double spell cards in their deck, but not in their hand, I guess. So just in case they drew into something that wanted them to double spell, that would be why they plotted. Well, that's very disappointing. No scry for me. Alright. I have to just kill this before they tutor for their best bomb. So they did commit a crime, so if it hits us, they put their best bomb into their hand. I could always let that happen and then try to kill the best bomb, but it could be so many cards like Bonnie Paul that are just like, here's 2 gigantic creatures and you can only kill one of them. 2 gigantic creatures and I draw a card. So you kill one of my 2 creatures and I'm up a card and a half. Well, if Supplier resolves, Bristlepack Sentry is going to get real scary. If it doesn't resolve, that means Roxanne is more likely to. What is this? They're running Ionize too? Alright, hard Grixis control from our opponent. The Lush Oasis was the big decoy right there. Looking like a Rakdos or a Jund deck at the start. Surprise! Triple Island, all counters. You fool. You absolute buffoon. God, I love getting 2 for 1. It feels so good. Basic land. Thank you. Alright. Now that they're tapped out, we resolve the Roxanne and cross our fingers, but it seems like they have all of the removal in their sealed pool. Hopefully they're out. They did use a lot. They might be out. What is there, like destroy an attacking creature? That's in white. Yeah, we send in. If it's some kind of a flash blocker, we can derail it. Okay. So they're just waiting to draw removal, so they kill Roxanne and get the +1/+1 counter on Buzzard, is why they're not casting Buzzard. Oh! So, yeah, I was going to say, they just play a crime land. There's no opportunity for us to kill this before they get the zombies, but I can kill it after. That's really disappointing. Triggers only once each turn, so we can just kill it here, but that's bad. I guess Roxanne can start killing the zombies. It might not be that bad. The thing that's really bad about it, honestly, is the fact that, shoot, I have to kill the Buzzard, because I don't want to cast Betrayal at the Vault right now. I want to save that for if they hit another bomb. Okay, I lost my train of thought, but I'm going to start focusing just a lot more on trying to play right than speak well. Because it's been a sloppy day. And this is a pretty tight game of Magic. I think another 3-2 is pretty good here, because we can sift through this horde of 2/2s with Roxanne. Just getting a little extra damage, a little extra pressure can go a long way. Fake your own death? Alright. Yeah, we cash this in then. I have to target 2 other creatures? That's funny. Well, I can still do this. That's very funny. Okay. Well, Pyromancer kills Roxanne. But they go to 1. with no creatures left. They could send a message and kill Miriam, but they die in the process. But message will be received. Alright, they don't kill Miriam. Oh, that actually might be enough to save them here. They've cast a lot of removal. Actually, it doesn't look like it. They have to just plan the heist here. They don't have a 2-for-1 removal spell that kills 2 of these creatures. I mean, they could kill one of them and have the lockpicker up as a blocker, but yeah, I think they have to do the draw 3 and then have 3 mana value stuff that can win. Feels unlikely. I mean, Surveil 3, draw 3 is even better. That could be enough. Again, I guess they only need removal to kill one of these creatures to be technically alive. They are dead to a desert, but I don't have any more deserts in here. They're dead to a Holy Cow. Hellspur Posse Boss. Why does Google think that I'm saying okay Google? Laughing Jasper, that doesn't work. Unless they have a 0 mana removal? Oh wait, no, it does work. It blocks here. Shepherd of the Clouds. Return any permanent from our graveyard to our hand. Mana value 3 or less, right? So I can pick up Mystical Tether? I can pick up Mystical Tether, right? I can. Okay. Well, we do that. All right. I don't know how to play Magic anymore, so I'm going to reroute my brain here. We're going to turn off the part that knows how to speak and communicate and commentate Magic the Gathering gameplay. We're going to turn on the part that knows how to play Magic the Gathering, so hopefully, because we're close now, 2 more wins and we're in, but also 1 loss and we're out. Hopefully, I can turn things around in my brain, and maybe we can get these next 2 wins. We will see soon enough, but if you're still around, if you haven't left from all the misplays and the punts everywhere, then get ready for some weird, bad commentary, because I am going to focus up here, because it's grind time here. We are down to the stone. I don't even know if any of that made sense. Am I speaking English? Here we are on the play. We have the Erranks, we have the Sentry to saddle up and scry. We don't have the white source for the Erranks, though. So I play a Sentry and sit here until I draw a white source. It's got to be a mulligan, right? It floods pretty easily, too. With 4 mana. Yeah. Okay, way better mana. I could play double Erranks holding up a Snakeskin Veil even without the Mountain. And keep the Heath and the Pylons to Surveil. No natural red source is a little awkward. Maybe Heath Mountain's better. But I think I ditch a land here, because we can still double Erranks and Veil with Naturalist later. I don't know which of the untapped lands is better to keep, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 lands on all these spells. I'm gonna Pylons it up. That helps find land 3, since we need a replacement. There it is. Erranks hold up Veil is tempting. I guess just having Veil for a better creature later is probably solid too. Yeah. Still get a good attack here, and now I hold up good blocks as well if they don't get to saddle up. That's not true. If I saddle, I don't get to hold up blocks. I lied. Well, they don't have the creature to saddle up. So I don't even need the hold up blocks here. If they want to poke me for 2, they got me. They don't. If I hit a tap land, am I playing that instead of holding up Snakeskin Veil? Honestly, I don't think I am. I think I'm just holding up Veil from here. You just make my Naturalist cost 5? Okay, so I just play it next turn then. That's really gross. I don't know how this is the first time I've ever played with or against this card, but that is really good. Okay. Wow. I guess it only costs 2 mana instead of 5. That's cool. Interesting. Well. I guess I could Snakeskin Veil for the double kill. If they block here. It's pretty obvious Snakeskin Veil though, because Arena is a absolute snitch. They hit no creatures for Burrow Fiend. They did hit a black source, which is a problem. Because, again, I assume every opponent to be 3 or 4 colors really in sealed. So we see an off-color desert. Best to not assume it's just there for damage. Best to assume they are potentially casting something scary later with that kind of card. Okay. Hmm. 2/3 blocker actually matters, so we Erranks first. We saddle with the Erranks because a 3/1 blocker doesn't matter. I don't love it, but I feel like it's good enough to keep here. We can definitely afford it. Holy cow. And they can double block either of these and trade 1 creature into them. If they double block the Erranks, though, I can veil it up. They double block Naturalist, I can't. Yeah, I mean, right now we don't really have anything better to protect, so cash it in for the double kill. Hopefully whatever they scry to the top is just like a good standalone threat that we can just kill with Annie joins up. Not some kind of like 2-for-1 or 3-for-1. Okay, well, I don't know what they scried to the top, but I guess they regretted it. All right, well, we are 6-2 now, heading into the final boss with what will hopefully go down in history as the sloppiest Arena Open Day 1 I've ever done. Hopefully I don't get any sloppier than this, but I guess we'll see. You never know. I could just get worse at Magic the longer I play. Who knows? All right, let's try to play really, really tight for this last game of Magic, but more importantly than that, let's really cross our fingers, hope to have some good draws as we head into that final battle with our chance at Day 2, the Arena Open. While there's some solid draws, it's a slower hand, But turn 5, Roxanne holding up Snakeskin Veil off a treasure token is really appealing. So I'm going to keep here. We're hoping to draw cheap plays over anything else. And hoping that our opponent did not get like a really aggressive, really streamlined deck out of their sealed pool. I think I Surveil here because we are so flooded we just want to ditch any land we see. It's not a land. There's our turn 4 play. If they are really aggressive, we could play at turn 3 instead. I suppose, off of the treasure token, unless they sack a varmint to kill a treasure token, which would be wild. Is Roxanne an outlaw? How is Roxanne not an outlaw? She's got the hat. That's how you're supposed to know, right? Anything with a hat is an outlaw? Okay, well this is aggressive enough. I think I'm cashing in the Posse Boss, right? Instead of taking 4, going to 13 immediately? I don't know. I think this is worth the treasure. Just clutter up the board. Especially with the gold pan to put on these mercenaries. Where like the worst case scenario is we get the gold pan to kill their varmint. If they don't want us to keep suiting it up onto mercenary tokens. Tumbleweed Rising is plotted, so now I can derail whatever they play. Trying to make a big elemental. I'm just hold up a 2/4 blocker, right? Excuse me, holding up a 2/4 blocker with a Snakeskin Veil. Do they want to trade Varmint into Gold Pan? I think that's kind of a net positive. They thought about it. Alright, they're just going to trade Varmint into the Mercenary. Or they could still trade it into Gold Pan and also just, like, Fog. Just prevent combat damage for the turn. I'm pretty cool with Varmint trading for either of these cards. Alright, the Mercenary token it is. I think that's probably even better for me. Bruce Tarl. Enters the battlefield or attacks, exile the top card of your library. If it's a land, create a 2/2. Otherwise, you can cast it till end of turn. Okay, so there's no reason to shoot it right now. We wait till they try to cast the Tumbleweed Rising, then we shoot it. Clear shots. They get to play a clear shot next turn. So I know to, like, definitely hold up Snakeskin Veil. Interesting. They do know that I have instants, so they don't cast Tumbleweed Rising. Fair enough. I'm still just going to kill Bruce while they're tapped out. Miriam. Alright. So we're definitely not playing Roxanne because they have a removal spell at the ready. So we play a Miriam. Miriam's got a hat too. How's Miriam not an outlaw? Nobody's an outlaw over here. Where are the criminals? This is absurd. Oh my god. Posse Boss Gold Pan has just been such value here. We traded 2 1/1 tokens that our Posse Boss made into 2 actual 2/2s that cost a card. Now their Tumbleweed Rising doesn't even work until they cast a creature, but they also want to cast Clear Shot this turn, so Clear Shot isn't exiled forever. So their stuff is just stranded in hand. Yeah, one of these is just gone. I guess Tumbleweed Rising is not going to be gone forever, but yeah, Clear Shot's gone forever because they've got no creatures left. And now I can Roxanne holding up Snakeskin Veil and just go to town. All right, Dance of the Tumbleweeds is a pretty big blocker. So they block Roxanne, takes 6, 7, 8 by taking 2 from Meteorite. 1 more from Snakeskin Veil is 9. I can't quite lethal them. If Patient Naturalist finds a desert, I can lethal them. Oh, that's right. They've got Tumbleweed Rising still. Okay, that's a big problem. Well. Yeah, now this game is going to take considerably longer, isn't it? Okay. If we can make Roxanne 5 power and shoot an elemental, that would kill one, but they would just block with the other one. Yeah. We need a wider board state than we are currently capable of making. Lose 2 creatures, put them to 6. If I attack with everybody, it's just not worth it. Got enough mana here to just like move a gold pan over. It matters at all? I don't know, I'll just put it on Roxanne for slightly bigger butt to maybe not die. Cactarantula, alright, they are assembling blockers here. Just gotta see if we can assemble attackers. That is not an attacker. Yeah, I think they've officially stabilized. I think this is a full-on top deck war now. 3 blocks, take 5 damage. It's 4 damage. They let Naturalist and Posse Boss in. 6 damage because Roxanne shoots the face. 7 because Snakeskin Veil is still not lethal. Alright, top deck war it is. We're not currently winning that. Another blocker. Life gain from the Gardener's a little something. They send 2 in, we do have to block somewhere. Probably should have moved Gold Pan over for better double blocks. I mean, a 5-4 Roxanne and a 2-4 Posse Boss is not that bad of a block. We only lose 1 creature, but losing Roxanne's a big deal. If I instead had a Gold Pan on a Miriam or a Trained Arynx, like we'd have to lose 2 creatures to kill a 7/7. Alright, they're just going to pass anyway. I do need to consider moving the Gold Pan, though. Oh, boy, that's a draw. Oh, boy, that's a draw. That's double Roxanne triggers and double Miriam triggers. So, I can kill a Cactarantula and they have 3 blockers, and I can shoot them so that they're down to 6. Down to 6 with 3 blockers up. They block here, here, and here. Take 6. I can hit for exact on board if they have nothing, but they're going to draw a card here, too, which helps them have something. I think we still take those gambles. Spread out the power a little wider. The triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers. It triggers an additional... Yeah. That will do it. If they have nothing. block, block, block. Take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they're at 6. Okay. Better to be skilled than lucky, everybody. The tightest plays ever. Incredible deck building. God tier gameplay. It just busted lines. How does he does it? Mastermind plays today. Gonna bring us all the way to a 7-win run on our first attempt of the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Arena Open Day 1 event. That is actually insane because I played so bad today. But I mean, the deck was good. I think this is the best that our sealed pool could offer. The deck had flaws, as we saw in our couple of losses, mainly our first loss, where like if we don't hit our haymakers like Roxanne and Posse Boss kind of stuff, I mean, we're doodling around and the mana can be bad and we're just playing random spells or whatever. But more than anything else, like we opened up good rares and we drew good rares, and that's kind of how sealed is. So at the end of the day, well, I did play incredibly sloppy. I guess it did kind of prove my initial point where sealed is really just about opening great cards and drawing them, because I think our opponents played better than us today. That was a very, very sloppy day of Magic. So since we got there on round 1, even with super, super sloppy plays, I am going to go ahead and spend some time actually practicing here, because we came back to Arena sloppy today, and if we continue like that in day 2, there is no way we're getting anywhere near draft number 2, which is always the goal for me. I like to make it to at least draft 2, that way we get to draft twice. That's always really fun. If we get the cash prizes, that's super sweet too, but that is very, very difficult to do. You need a super high win rate. You're out after only 2 losses in like up to 8 rounds of Magic between the 2 drafts, so pretty difficult to get to the prizes, but it's also difficult to get to draft number 2, but that is a little bit more of an attainable goal, and that's the fun one. That's where you can get all the gameplay possible. So yeah, let's get some practice in the format off stream, so hopefully we don't come here with nearly as sloppy of plays and lines and stuff. But in sealed, really, if you open up great rares and you draw great rares, you can win the event. That is more of what it's about than any kind of skill and stuff. So hopefully, again, tighten up, do some actually skilled drafting and skilled gameplay tomorrow, and that's where things really matter. So we're going to take our prizes, our 5,000 gems right back, get our Arena Open Day 2 little token, and that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again tomorrow for the Arena Open Day 2, Draft number 1.